Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Face Off Podcast. Here we are again, doing that thing. I'm trying to work on my intro voice there. My voice in general, I think. I was having when I do the intro, I'll go up really high, and it would be loud and abrasive. So I'd try to go low and get down like real nice and comfortable, like on the radio. How you should do the radio should be a nice low register when you're talking to somebody through speakers, right? Nice and not so excitable, but still right there with you, baby, right there with you. So welcome back to the Face Off Podcast. I think I'm treading on black voice territory. Is that a thing? You can't do blackface isn't a thing. Here a little side tangent here. I lived in Arizona recently. I moved here back to Spokane in 2017, March of 2017. So prior to that, I was living in Arizona, in Yuma, Arizona, for a couple of years, in an RV, living in an RV park, working in a couple different RV parks. And so that in the season is 90% elderly people, northern elderly people, right? Because the town during the summer, it shrinks to a very small number, and then in the winter time it explodes to this huge number of people, right? And they're all old, and they're all from north, so Canada, the Dakotas, Michigan, Washington State, lots of people from Washington State, Montana, not so much from Oregon, but and not so much from Idaho for some reason. But those other places for sure, and not New York. The East Coasters go to Florida. So, I was working in this place, and it's all. I was working in a restaurant that was at an RV park, and it's all volunteers, mostly from the RV park. There's maybe like 10 other employees that are regular employees. And so they have these theme parties where everybody, all the volunteers and everybody who shows up from the park, they dress up. And it's usually just, Hawaiian luau or whatever theme, and you bring your Hawaiian shirt, and everybody's all, yeah, Hawaiian, it's a Hawaiian theme, and there's barbecue and whatever, barbecued spam or whatever they like over there in Hawaii. There's pineapples and drinks and stuff and everything. But then I walked in one day, and I don't know exactly what the theme was, but there was a bunch of people walking around in blackface, and I was like, oh, I don't know about that. That's a little bit rough. It's strange. How racist do you let people be? You know what I mean? Like, is it still okay? Has it ever been okay for somebody to be racist in their head, and then if they're around a group of people that are all racist too, they can all just be racist together in private? Is that all right? I have a distinct memory of my dad. My dad was a super racist. It's so weird to say that, but it's true. He was super into racism. He was a racism enthusiast, I guess you might say, or maybe a white man enthusiast. That sounds a little weird. Little like a specific gay niche or something. white man enthusiast. But oh yeah, so I have this specific memory of one night, him and a group of his racist friends sitting around drunk as shit, fat, white, stupid, and looking up racial slurs in the dictionary, just to basically make sure that they were using them right, to make sure that they had the proper usage going. Oh God, it was so stupid. I was just like, oh God. I knew I tried out that racism thing. It never fit for me. But I'm trying not to go into a bit there. That was precariously close to a bit, but yeah. So, is your own mind? Is it okay to be racist in your own mind? Is that worse? You think? Like, if you're racist in your own mind, but you don't project it out into the world, is that better or worse than just being a straight up racist dude? You know what I mean? Because I have the sense like when I watch like a Micheal Bay movie, there's some pretty I want to say like okay, so it's not like KKK racism, but it is some sort of a weird racism that sort of seeps into Micheal Bay's stuff. There's something there. You know what I mean? And it's fairly overt. It's not apologetic really. But then when I watch Steven Spielberg stuff, it's the same sort of thing, but it feels like coy, like he's hiding it or something. Like it's not overt. It's like covert racism. I don't know if that's true. I don't know what it is too, because I just had those examples in my head of Micheal Bay and Steven Spielberg as being two different kinds of old white racists, and I don't know why. I don't know what the examples were of it. I should do more research, I'm sure. I'm just spuriously throwing out claims of racism everywhere. So back to my original point is so blackface is not cool. It's not good. It's even touchy ground for satire. Like they did blackface in It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and it wasn't. It was sort of as a commentary on blackface, or in Tropic Thunder 2, Robert Downey Jr. I don't know. I guess maybe it's just in your delivery, like if you're able to deliver it right. But like what would you call it? Like a like a genuine attempt at blackface, like so an unironic, unsatirical attempt at blackface. Not cool. Excuse me. It's been not cool for a while. Too. But black voice, is black voice okay? Cause and I don't even know if it's racist to even say that there's such thing as black voice. I've heard a lot of people complain that black, a lot of comics complain that black comics will use a white voice, and they have this nerdy white voice, that they use for white people. But so I think that's right on. But I also think that there's a such thing as black voice. Like, of course, there's people who are going to have just an innocuous sort of, not innocuous, like an ambiguous sort of voice. Like you won't be able to recognize them. But I feel like on the whole, I don't know, you can. And I don't know if that's racist or not. I think it might be. That's weird. But like if I talk to somebody on the phone, I can usually tell if they're a black person. Or I can assume. Anyway, of course there's I don't know. Maybe I should just end this episode right now and start over fresh. Let's put it out. See, I don't want to. I wonder. The reason I brought that up was because my intro voice. What I did was I lowered it down a little bit. I lower it down like this, And to me, that sort of sounds like a black voice, you know what I mean? And it doesn't have anything, like you can dupe it all up and stuff, but it doesn't have anything to do. I should move on from this right now. This is getting ridiculous. This is getting ridiculous, man. Isn't that weird though when you meet somebody and you get to know them a little bit and then it turns out later on that they're racist? That's pretty wild. Like overtly racist and stuff. But it wasn't there at the beginning. It's like a bait and switch kind of. We're like, damn. I know a lot of people that are like sort of racist. Like it doesn't it's like, oh, it doesn't come out like my dad was. My dad was real racist, like super bad. I mean, damn, dude. You talk about like whatever the like Proud Boys and the Tiki Torch Brigade and these fucking dudes like that and the Confederate flag dudes. And that seems like tame racism to me compared to this fucking shit. I mean, he wasn't, as far as I know, out burning crosses and stuff, but damn, he was a cruel man. And I'm gonna smudge his memory on the face of podcastdom. I have on order. I have microphone covers. This microphone cover, I swear, it's just like pure fiberglass. Every time I get near it, my eyes start itching, my throat hurts, my nose seals up. It's just horrible. So I got new microphone covers on order. So that's going to be a treat to not be poisoned every single time I try to do this podcast here. Oh, man. So we're about 15 minutes in, just solid racism talk from the top. We went from black voice to black face to just straight up idiot racists. And that's good times. That's real good. That's a way to do it. You just dive right in, you know. We're doing some experimenting right now. I think we kind of did the what do you call it? The on location podcast last week, and that was fun. That was the laundry location. I'm working on getting set up so I can take this setup with me out to a place like that. And it's not going to be too tough. It's just like kind of finding the time right now. It's been a little bit of a weird switch in scheduling. So I've been going to bed at like 7 o'clock and getting up at midnight and then working from 1, on, and then just having the day. And I don't like doing stuff during the day. I like doing stuff at night. That's why this on the weekends it's good. I get up at midnight and then get to work. I slept in today for a couple hours, so I'm expecting a catastrophic meltdown at any moment. That's usually what happens. Usually what happens is I don't expect it because I feel good. And I'm like, all right, this is cool. I feel great. Nothing bad's going to happen. And then everything bad happens. It's like, I should have seen that coming. Should have seen that coming. But I'm doing some experiments with the video here. Lo-fi. I'm instead of doing high intensity, high definition, I'm trying much lower definition. Dialing it back, to VHS, Betamax times. We're gonna just instead of leaping forward into the 3D heptic suit universe, we're gonna go backwards from virtual reality to just grabbing them pictures and putting them in the machine box. Oh, good Christ. Oh, good Lord, have mercy on everybody that's listening. All right, this is the episode with no name, part 2, the revenge of the episode with no name. That's pretty good. This is what happened last week. Was I got halfway through Face Off. That was the first week that I didn't finish it, and I instead of apologizing and saying I'll never make that mistake again, I just leaned into it and said that is exactly what I meant to do. I meant to focus on the first half one week and the second half next week. And so that's what I did. Focused on the second half this week. This was last Wednesday that I took these notes. So this is almost a week later on these notes. So I probably won't know what any of them mean. I'll probably be like, what does this even mean? What was I thinking at that point? I feel like I was a different person, 100%. And that's possible. I mean, that is the goal, I think, is to be a different person every day. Because if you're the same person every day, where's the growth in that? Where's the payoff? You know, why even bother? I heard somebody put it real simply: if you don't learn something every day, then you're probably dead. So what did I learn yesterday? What happened yesterday? What did I learn yesterday that's keeping me alive right now? I can't think of anything. That's not good. That's not good at all, is it? Let's see. Maybe I didn't learn any life lessons. Maybe there's a fact that I learned. That could be the difference between wallowing and striving. The difference between a wallow and a stride, maybe. The difference between 18 inches of soft mud and nice dusty hardtack road to trample upon. I don't think I learned any facts either. I might have. You know, it's hard to say. It's hard to remember, really. I started not last year, I would say several years ago, 2016, I think, the summer of 2016. I was reading listening to a lot of audiobooks. And so I started a list of audiobooks that I was listening to that I had finished. So that way I could go back and look at the list and be like, oh yeah, because I forget. You know, just forget. I mean, like if you try to list off all the movies you've seen, it's ridiculous. You want to be able to do it at all, you forget about it. So I started making a list of all the books, and it's been interesting to go back and look at it because I do forget about some of them, but once I see the title, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that story and what I was feeling when I was reading it and what the book showed me. And oh, that's it. Damn it. Back to racism. I know what I learned yesterday. I learned about a Jim Crow mile, and that's an interesting thing to me. I don't know if this is a fictional thing. I should have looked it up, but it was I thought it was really cool because I mean, not cool. It's obviously, well, let me explain it really quick. What a Jim Crow mile is a distance of measurement, but it's a relative distance of measurement. So when slaves were freed, there was obviously a lot of tension, and still is, some would say, about how a black person or a freed slave was to interact with the world. You know what I mean? And so a Jim Crow mile was like if you were, it's almost like a New York city block compared to a regular city block, or a Vegas city block. You know, a city block is longer than a town block. It's way bigger. Excuse my snorting. This fucking microphone thing is horrible. I don't know why I deal with it. So a city block is bigger than a a town block. It's larger. It's a lot longer of a distance of measurement. So a Jim Crow mile, it would be like you could walk a regular mile in 20 minutes or 25 minutes, but a Jim Crow mile it's a relative measurement. So if it's a real bad, nasty, a real super racist area, it could take you days to get a mile, or months, or years, depending on how horrible. Isn't that? It's crazy. I'm into that idea of relativity, that things change depending on circumstances and depending on who's dealing with it and everything. But that was probably a pretty shitty explanation. But that's what I learned. I learned that that's a thing, either non-fictionally or fictionally. And at this point, are we really differentiating between fiction and non-fiction? Is one more important than the other? Is one more real than the other? At this point, doesn't feel like it. It feels sort of. There's another idea that I've heard several times, is that virtual reality is going to. Obviously, I don't think anybody could disagree, but virtual reality is going to get to that sort of Ready Player One status, which I started watching. Not nearly as bad as I thought it would be. Maybe that was where I got that subtle Steven Spielberg racism from, was that movie. But I started watching it. It's not nearly as bad as I thought it was going to be, but it could get pretty tedious. I'm only like 30 minutes into it, 40 minutes into it or something. But it's all right. But they have these suits. They put on suits and they go into the virtual reality world and they move around and do stuff. And it's like real life, but better. And so if, as a people, I don't think there's any person that could disagree that that's coming along. That's going to happen eventually, whether it's in 2 years or 1,500 years. If we keep progressing, we're going to get to the point where reality and virtual reality is indistinguishable. So if we can agree on that point, then what's to say that didn't already happen? That's what this is. That this is all a game of some sort, or maybe not a game, but just some sort of an interface, And there's people, maybe that's where you get this weird ruling class, is they just understand more how the game works. Maybe that's where those ideas of the lizard people and Illuminati and stuff come from, is those are the actual players of the game. They're the ones hoarding. Because when I'm playing a game, I am a horrible person. I'm a really, really bad person. I'm playing Borderlands 2 right now. In that game, I didn't like it at first because it's so structured. You gotta go on missions and do stuff. You can kind of rip through it, but you really gotta go. There's a limit to where you can rip. You know what I mean? You can't just murder everybody. So it's a little more structured. You gotta go on missions. You gotta go help people out and stuff. And the game that I was playing before that was Fallout New Vegas. And I played that game and did missions for about 10 minutes. And then I just decided, you know what? I'm just going to kill everybody. That's what I'm going to do instead. I'm going to kill everybody in this world. I'm going to slaughter them from the ground up, the weak and the strong alike. No matter who it is, I'm going to become a scourge of the earth. And I did that for a really long time. And that was a return to violent video games for me. I took a big break from violent video games, which is basically just taking a break from video games in general, because I was able to sort of find, I was playing, I wanted to get off of video games that were violent, so I started playing Minecraft, and I was doing the creative mode, which is basically just like a huge Lego box. You can just play with it and do art stuff. The first thing I did in Minecraft creative mode was create a gigantic hole. I don't know why that was my first inclination. And by gigantic, I mean huge. It took several months to do. It was really, really big. It cleared out a huge spaces world all the way down to the bedrock. It's just this gigantic, vast emptiness. And so that, I don't know if that's a reflection of my interior state of being, or at least interior state of being at that time was just a big empty hole with some nice grass on top, so you wouldn't even notice. It was a very strange thing. It was a very strange undertaking, and I knew it while I was doing it. But after I did that, I went and explored the world a little bit, and it turned out there was people in the world. And they had a little town. They were doing stuff. And I built a wall around their town and filled it with lava and killed everybody. So that was another insight into my personality there. In Grand Theft Auto, I'm up on a tower. Within 10 minutes, I'm bored of the game, and I'm up on a skyscraper or a building somewhere, just picking off pedestrians with a sniper rifle. Man, I don't know why, but I identify with that tower shooter type of mentality. It's one of those weird things. It's like I identify with it, but I would never do it. Like, I won't do that, and I know I won't. But I understand it on a deeply resonating level. Same with suicide stuff. I'm not going to kill myself, but I feel like I understand the urge pretty well, or at least the nagging version of that urge, the just incessant, never-ending chitter chatter in my head. And maybe that's just violence in general, the never-ending, incessant chitter chatter is just violence in general. And sometimes the light of that turns to myself. Most of the time it turns to myself. I don't really think about hurting people anymore. I think the reason I don't think about hurting people anymore is because I've become much more aware of how much of a not fighter I am, that I'm not a fighter. It's ridiculous. Like, if I was to fight even somebody who was nominally decent, just averagely decent, you know what I mean? It would be ugly. I would get murdered. I used to think I was a really good fighter, but I don't know why. It's a delusional thinking there. So in what I was getting at, the tangential, before the tangential highway there, I was getting at if I imagine myself. So if somebody said, "Here's a suit, put on the suit. Here's some goggles. This is gonna tap into your neurology. You're gonna feel stuff, and you're gonna go in this world, and you do whatever you want to. Play it how you want to. I would be an awful person. I would be the worst. I would be a bad character to all the other characters in there. I have no morality about it, And so when you think of Illuminati or lizard people or whatever, that's what it seems like. It's somebody with no morality about what they're doing. They're just there for the gain. And that's the other part too, is I don't just kill people. I steal from everybody after they're dead. Is that stealing? I think it is. And I do that because I want better guns to kill better people with. I want better weaponry. I want a bunch of money within the game, whatever it is. Like in Fallout, they have bottle caps, and I want those bottle caps. I want them. Let me have them. So when I realize my video game talk is horribly outdated, but I'm just getting into them. So, that's fine. That's how it works, man. That's how it works, man. So I would be an awful person in a video game. I am an awful person in all the games that I play. Terrible. I don't go towards good. I go towards bad instantly. And so it makes me wonder about that idea. If we're really just some sort of like a program, because those people in Minecraft, the ones that I melted with lava, you destroyed their entire town. All they're doing is a low tech version of what we're doing all the time. They're responding in a certain way to stimuli because they've been programmed that way, and that's all we're doing all the time. All of our responses are programmed. We don't have any response that's like if you're walking down the street and somebody gets their foot ran over, which, by the way, not funny, man. You can't put that shit in movies, somebody getting their foot run over by a car and playing it off like it's hilarious. No, that's a destroyed foot. That foot is done forever. I mean, if you ride over somebody's foot on a bicycle, it's probably broken in 20 places. I mean, that's just what it is. That's not funny, all right? It's not funny. That's like some bullshit, you know? They get a flat foot. Oh, look, my foot's all flat now because it got run over by a car. No, it's broken. It's destroyed. There's nothing left of it. Your foot is dust. But let's say somebody gets their foot run over by a car, and their reaction to that is they grow wings. So that would be like an original reaction that nobody's ever really seen before. It'd be like, oh, well, that's interesting. Why did that happen? But that's not what happens because we're programmed. So what happens if you get your foot run over by a car is your foot gets crushed and you're in severe pain. That's the programming right there. That's how we've been if we had been programmed through evolution or Jesus or whatever to have titanium bones instead of bones, then that reaction wouldn't be the same. But that's not our programming. It's just like in a video game. If you shoot somebody who's not programmed to have armor and they're just naked, they die faster than if you shoot somebody who is programmed to have armor and programmed to take a lot more shots. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know. I feel bad for those dudes in Minecraft that I fucking slaughtered with lava. It's a weird way to kill people too, with lava. Speaking, I've been watching a lot of Downton Abbey lately. That's a pretty solid show. It's like a politeness porn. Watching those British shows, they're very polite. I think the British are probably just playing that up now. Like I think Canadians can just play it up. Either that, or we're just bad. We're just bad people. The U.S. is rude. I don't know. Maybe not. It's hard to tell. We've been watching that Downton Abbey. We watched The Crown also on Netflix. That was good. I think I liked The Crown a little bit better because it was a little bit more like tense or something. Like there was a lot bubbling underneath the surfaces, you know. And this one it is too, but it's a little more like a Little House on the Prairie feeling almost, you know. Like there's like everybody just wants the good in the end and blah 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 and all that stuff. But it's cool. I like it. I like those ones. Read some books. I read this big giant Stephen King book about JFK and time travel, and I was pretty disappointed. It was corny and it was huge, but it had a lot of potential, and I wanted the potential to play out, but it didn't. That's okay. That guy's done a lot of books. You don't have to do any more. You can just relax, you know. Just take it easy. I guess some people can't relax, so they gotta do stuff all the time, you know. I read Philip K. Dick, A Scanner Darkly. I'm thinking of doing this is what sort of led to that book list the other summer, is that I would come across an author, and if I liked them, I would just try to read as much, listen to their whole catalog, basically, as much as I could get my hands on. And I've done some Philip K. Dick stories before, but they were just stories, and I didn't care for it too much. So this was a whole book, and I really like this book. It's about drugs and stuff, which I'm into the idea of, and it was good. It was a really interesting take on drugs and having a fantasy drug, a weird one. So I like that, and they made a movie out of it, which was also fucking badass, with Keanu Reeves and Winona Ryder and Robert Downey Jr., Harrison Ford, Woody Harrelson. That would have been better. Harrison Ford, and then some other dude that I can't think of his name, but he's highly recognizable and interesting. Fucking guy, but the guy with the bugs in the movie, if you watch it, but it's rotoscoped, and I like a rotoscoped movie. Waking Life is another rotoscope movie that was dope. They rotoscoped a Lord of the Rings cartoon way back in the day, which was not as dope, but still pretty dope. But that's where they film it, and then they draw over the top of it. So it's this sort of ultra realistic cartoon that's not realistic at all. Just the movement of it is super realistic, and they can play around with it and stuff. I really like that. I think it's a cool thing. I wish they would do. I think it's pretty intensive to do it, but highly recommend To Scanner Darkly in book or movie form, and Waking Life. And fuck that Lord of the Rings cartoon, man. That shit was boring as shit. Lord of the Rings is dumb. All right. It's dumb, and I hate your opinions. So this is the Nameless episode, part 2, Attack of the Nameless episode. I think was that it, or Revenge of the Nameless episode? I don't know. We'll get it. There's another. Okay, so there's a comic book called Nameless by Grant Morrison. Weird one. That dude is super cool, super weird. He's got a book called Super Gods that's fucking badass. If you want to read about comics and stuff, I would check that out for sure. He weaves his own life into it, but it's a lot about the history of superheroes, that they're actually the mythology of them and stuff. And he's an interesting character in his own right. But yeah, so Nameless is the name of this comic that I sort of stole from for the name of this 2 podcasts. And I like the idea in that one, because Nameless, the guy's name is Nameless, and so Nameless becomes a name, even though the word itself denotes the lack of a thing. It becomes the thing that it denotes the lack of, right? Is that right? I think I'm getting too comfortable in this episode. We're 40 minutes in and no face-off. No face-off, but plenty of racism. Tons of racism. Which I'm not pointing at Face Off as being a racist movie, but there's three black characters, and 2 of them get burnt alive, and 1 of them gets shot to death. So little bit. There's a Asian character also. She makes it all right. She just gets yelled at all the time. The white characters are the main focus, and they're fighting it out against each other. I don't know, though. It's got John Travolta in it. I'm pretty sure Scientology is going to become a race in the future. There's got to be something different about a Scientologist, man. They're strange folks, dude. Is he still? He must still be. I don't know. Nah, dude. So, again, I'm just going to rip through these things, man. These are, I don't know what I was thinking most of the time on these, but Archer gets nominated, or he gets made Times Man of the Year for defusing a bomb. Do they do that? Does Time care about cops? I mean, Archer is a FBI guy or whatever, but do they do that? Is there such thing as a superstar FBI agent? I've never fucking heard of it. It's usually infamous, right? They're usually you only hear about them if they do something bad. Is that kind of the idea, or something? I don't really know. But anyway, he gets Time of the Year, and he does not. He's all busted up about it because it's Castor Archer. Nope. It's Sean Troy. Sean Troy, and his brother's dead. All right. Lazaro has a heart attack. Lazaro is the best character in this entire movie. Right next to the, second place, close second is that's a fourth black character actually, is the cop, the FBI agent that doesn't do anything in the Archer house. He just stands there in two different scenes. Doesn't do anything. I love that guy. He's great. And also, I'm going to say Tito has the most interesting backstory probably. Buzz has a pretty interesting arc. And also, as far as as far as psychology goes, we'll say Loomis, the one that gets his ear blown off and shot in the head, and then also just shows up out of nowhere with a grenade launcher. I like that kind of unpredictability and sass. He's got a little sass to him and stuff. So these are the best characters, but the best character is Lazaro, and Lazaro has a forced heart attack. Like I don't know what they're saying. So they implied that he was having heart problems, but it could have just been burping up some heartburn or whatever. But then Sean Troy karate chops him after telling him, "I'm Castor Troy," with Sean Archer's face. Ooh, big reveal. He karate chops him in the back of the head and then heart punches him. And then says, "This dude had a heart attack." Now, I wonder if he's just super smart, and that when you heart punch somebody, and then they have a heart attack and die, if the blood stops flowing, so the blood stops flowing immediately, and then they don't bruise. Because if somebody had a heart attack and they had a huge bruise around the heart where you punched them as hard as you possibly could, it would be like, well, that's not good. You should probably look into this, right? Or in the back of your neck, too. I mean, he karate chopped him in the back of the neck, so it doesn't matter. I've heard that if you shoot somebody directly in the heart, they don't bleed very much because the blood stops pumping immediately. And that's how blood gets through your body. So if you shoot somebody directly in the heart, there's just a general amount of blood. But if you shoot somebody in the shoulder or even in the head, the heart keeps pumping for a little while. Even a few seconds is enough to spray a bunch of blood out. Like, I don't know, like you cut somebody's head off. Isn't that okay? So from where I'm sitting, look, I'm sitting in, you can't see it right now because you're probably just listening to this, and you're probably non-existent. Those are two important things. But I live in an apartment. It's very comfortable. I have a very comfortable existence right now. Do you know how divorced my mental state is from the mental state of a person who has ever had to cut another person's head off of their body for any reason whatsoever? Any reason. My mental state, I can't even see that property. I can't even see that estate from my porch. I can't see it. It's too far away. If I ever I said this about guns before. If I ever felt like I need to get my gun and put it on my hip, I don't have a gun, by the way, but if I had one and I felt I need to get my gun and put it in my holster and carry it around loaded today with me because I might have to kill somebody. That's just maybe what'll happen. If I ever had that feeling, I would just stay home, and I would forsake many things. If I would quit my job, if I felt like every time I went to my job, or on the way to my job, or on the way to the grocery store, that there might be a chance I might have to kill somebody, because I don't want to kill anybody. I don't want to do it. So why make it easier? Why would you do that? I mean, like, god damn, shooting somebody, we've sort of sterilized that. Now, chopping somebody's head off or sawing somebody's head off or something, that's different. That's pretty intense. You don't really get you can't really say that was self-defense. Maybe if you had a sword or an axe or something, it was one clean shot, self-defense, but damn, if it feels like somebody would be defending themselves against you, you cut somebody's head off. It just seems like a lot of work, no matter what. And they do it in movies all the time, man. There was I don't watch Game of Thrones. I've only seen a handful of episodes, but there was a part where this dude got all mad, so he cut a horse in half. I was like, or maybe it wasn't in half. Maybe he cut its head off, but you cutting a horse's head off at the neck, that's a lot of its body. It seemed like half. He cut the horse's head off with a sword, and I was like, well, gross. I don't know. It seems like a lot. It seems excessive. You cut another person's head off. That's weird. That's even crazier than cutting someone's face off. Is it? No. I think cutting someone's face off is even crazier, now that I think about it. Well, especially if they were alive or something. Do you remember that Hannibal movie? Anybody seen that Hannibal movie? The Ridley Scott Silence of the Lambs sequel, where what's his name? I want to say Mark for some reason, but that's not right. Anthony Hopkins as Hannibal Lecter. He cuts. Spoiler alert. I think that's a millennial thing to do, is to say spoiler alert and like an asshole. You know what I mean? So a spoiler, but he cuts Ray Liotta's skull, the top of his skull off, and feeds him, like cuts out some of his brain while he's still alive, cooks it up, and then feeds him that brain, Ray Liotta, his own brain. Oh man, who thinks of this shit? That's rough. That was one thing that I used to do as a writing exercise, was try to think of the most violent, horrible shit I could think of and put it into context, and god damn it, why? It's horrible. Like, try to think of the most, like, peaceful, loving thing you could do to somebody and put it into context. How could you, I don't know, make somebody feel happy? Oh yeah, so we had a second sighting of that security guard, the one that's not doing anything in the Archer house. He right before they go in, they show him standing outside, also not doing anything, just for a second too. I love that guy. He is close to my favorite. If Lazaro wasn't so fucking badass, I think that security guard would be the best. He's so funny. He doesn't do anything. I love it. Eve Archer. God, what is her name? I want to say her name, but I can't remember it. The actual actress's name. There's a scene where it's right after the security guard. Most of the stuff goes in order, but where Castor Archer goes back into his house, breaks into his house, and really hams it up. Goddamn, can anybody ham it up better than Nicolas Cage? Home. I'm home. oh, he's such an asshole. Really fucking hams it up. And tries to steal the scene, but fails completely. Because Eve Archer, the actress, gives a powerhouse performance. Really chews the scenery in a couple of scenes here. You know, these are her spots to shine. So she's confronted with the visage of the man who killed her son, but he's telling her that it's not that he's actually the man she loves, you know, and she her reaction is excellent. So there's a good piece of acting in this thing. It's just constantly threatened to be overshadowed by Nicolas Cage fucking hamming it up in the corner like a ding dong. But she chews it up. She does good. I give her props for that. Like this is obviously somebody with some chops. She tears it up, you know. And that brings me to another point here. I went to an Academy Award party. Not one of the ones where the actors go or the directors go like afterwards with hey, this is an Academy Awards after party. One of the ones where nerds go to, you know, and it was in a theater in the college in Arizona. I took Audrey, my stepdaughter, I guess is what you would call her. I would call her a cool ass chick, man. But but when she was younger, God, she would have been like 12 or 11, probably 12 at this point. But we went to watch this. She was interested in it. I thought it'd be fun, and it was the Academy Awards, so we were gonna watch the whole Academy Awards. You know, I should look up when it was, but and it was like okay, so best dude in a lead role, you know, and it was like Russell Crowe. I think Russell Crowe was one of them, or Hugh Jackman, but it was for Les Miserables, you know, and it was them doing this big manly singing thing, and God, I can't remember what the other movies were, but they were all just like these dudes doing all this tough stuff, you know, being badasses and everything. And then the women's, the actress, the best actress in a leading role or whatever, it was horrible. It was so shitty. It was like this guy. Okay, so one of them was definitely Anne Hathaway in Les Miserables, and she was just getting beaten in the streets and crying and having her head shaved, I think, and all this it was just awful. It was like this horrible thing. And then one of them was this movie, God, I want to say it was called I don't know, it was a French movie, and it was these two elderly people, and so there was a woman and the man, and they were sitting there looking at each other, and she was saying something, and then he just slaps her across the face and like 3 or 4 times. It's like, what the fuck? Where did that come? So the point is there was 5 or 6 different nominees, and every one of them was just this hysterical crying or getting beaten or just it's just the worst stuff. And it was like, is that how we gauge female acting? Is if you can cry and get beaten up and everything? And then you know, obviously that seems to be the female arc, the female the story arc that we're obsessed with as far as female characters go, is that you're fragile and then you get broken and then you're not fragile anymore. You come back stronger. Like the glue is stronger than the original pieces that you know. So you're this gentle vase up on a pedestal. You get pushed off, and of course you break because, come on, you're hitting the floor. That's what happens. And then once you get glued back together, based on the strength of the glue, you're now stronger. You can go out into the world. It's a weird, you know, in the male uh, story arc is similar but different. It's just that you have a place and then you go away from that place and get uncomfortable and then you come back to that place better. Which is subtly different than the female arc. But so that's the whole point is I think that it's tough. It's like a, I don't know. You can't just focus on, oh fuck man, I don't know. That was one thing. So I liked the Amy Schumer show that she had on Comedy Central, and the reason that I like Broad City a lot too. And one of the big reasons why I like the Amy Schumer show was it seemed like that was one of the first shows that I had seen on TV where there was female characters and they were having different facial expressions besides the basic like 3 or 4 facial expressions. There was like confused expressions and goofy expressions and these weird in between expressions. You know how they'll say that somebody has a good side and you only film them from that side. I don't know if that's my good side, but it was like they eschewed all that and they just were showing all different sides, all different points of view and stuff, and some of them are unflattering, but that's what's fucking awesome, is just see somebody from different points of view and they show different emotions besides basic 3 or 4 different emotions. They got a whole wide range of confused emotions in there. So I like Broad City too, because they do the same thing. They're not just stuck in a rut, of whatever. Or It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. She has, oh Jesus, that character seems sort of one-sided, but it's like she's like aware of her one-sidedness and fighting against it constantly. It's fucking awesome. It's a very meta thing to do. Castor Archer. So this is Sean Archer with Castor Troy's face. In this scene where Eve does a good job, he forces himself on her in subtle ways. So, and it's really creepy when you actually look at it, when you actually watch it, because this is the depth of his selfishness. Okay, we've gone over this a bunch of times. That Sean Archer is a selfish piece of shit with narrow tunnel vision, just a real dick. But in this scene, it is crazy. It's crazy how unaware he is. Because if you're wearing the face of the person who killed your son and you're confronting your wife, you have to respect the fact that is going to be insane. It's going to be insane. But he doesn't at all. He has no respect for her boundaries. He does not watch her body language at all. He gets in. He touches her a bunch of different times. Even at the end, he goes to give her a kiss. He touches her on her face. He invades the... Oh, man. It's just creepy. It's gross as fuck. It's worth watching that scene closely. Just in her performance really enhances it. It shows, like she, as an actress, she seems to take in the gravity of the situation and portray it, whereas he is just like oblivious as fuck. Even Nicolas Cage. I mean, it seems like everybody is oblivious. It's just horrible. And then in the next scene that they have together, she pulls a gun on him and he takes it. He just takes it away from her. And that, that just doesn't seem like a thing to do. It's like they're both moving towards a revelation, but he's like, I'm going to get there by making you as uncomfortable as possible. So it's almost like comfort resides behind this wall of uncomfortable, and we have to break through this wall of uncomfortable together to get to comfort with each other. I don't know, that it's just gross. It's a gross scene. I don't care for it. Okay, let's see here. Oh, and then the fucked up weird date story, man. It's all some self-centered, disgusting bullshit. I don't know. I hate it. They both wear sunglasses going into the last scene. I don't know what we're trying to signify here or something. They both talk to their respective women before going into the last scene. You know, Sasha's there. And Eve gets a little jealous of Sasha when she shows up. Justifiably so. You know? It's a pretty fucked up situation that she's in, and she's aware of it. Maybe she's jealous of Sasha's ignorance, you know? Probably not. Probably just regular old jealousy. All right, so there's a shootout. All this stuff is pretty fucking stupid. There's a shootout in the church at the end, and it's an awful shoot. I mean, this is a shootout that focuses on the barrels of the guns and CGI bullets flying through the air, and people flopping around. And for some reason, I don't know why they're flopping like that, but they are. It's a bad shootout. Okay, one of the best shootouts that I can remember in recent memory is Inglourious Bastards. It's in the bar in the basement bar. A good build up to it and a very good quick shootout. It's over fast and it's brutal, it's vicious, it's violent, and it's insane. And that's how I'd imagine a real shootout would go. I don't know what John Woo was thinking, where he's like, I want to have the centerpiece, this last big shootout with 8 people. It's like a 9-person Mexican standoff, or Tarantino triangle, as Ken McComb would say, or a Tarantino tetrahedron. I don't know what that is. I don't know if I said that right. But we're going to have our final shootout, our big shootout, be just the barrels of guns. Just the barrels of guns, and then people dead laying all around, and who knows who got shot. A good antithesis to that shootout would be Three Kings with Marky Mark. Has anybody you notice that Hollywood's like become this like a minefield now? So I talk about movies a lot in this podcast, and every time something comes up, I want to say, okay, this was good in this movie, and this movie had this person in it. So, but I want to do a disclaimer, like when I say, oh, hey, Inglourious Bastards had a great shootout scene, but fuck Quentin Tarantino because he's a prick. I mean, all this shit comes out. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like the Quentin Tarantino stuff, if you didn't know about that, in Kill Bill, it came out recently that he put Uma Thurman in a pretty dangerous situation with this rickety old piece of shit car, and she got hurt pretty bad, and it wasn't an accident. It was intentional. It was like she could have definitely been killed, and he has a tendency to do that. In Inglourious Bastards, he choked Diane Kruger unconscious, and she agreed to that, but it's a little bit of a weird tendency. I mean, it's not a little bit, it's a really fucking weird tendency, to want to inflict pain on people. Fuck, man, pain on anybody. But anyway, so he's kind of a piece of shit. So he is a piece of shit. It's a piece of shit, whatever, fuck him. But when it comes up, it's like, I want to mention this movie that has this good thing, and he did it, and so I want to put that disclaimer on. So the same with Three Kings. Oh, hey, it was Marky Mark, who is a fucking piece of shit also. I mean, he fucked up some people in a real racist way. Fucking hurt some people really bad. when he was a teenager. I didn't even think he was. I'm pretty sure he was over age, like 18 or 19, maybe early 20s. But anyway, it's like you want to mention that stuff, but it's God, I don't know. It seems like we should all be held accountable. Like I went to jail twice for shoplifting, and I still feel like, I wrote that on applications forever, job applications. I don't give a fuck. It was like, yeah, I did it. I did that. I got to do that. I mean, it wasn't that bad. It's shoplifting. I don't even give a fuck about shoplifting. But man, I don't know. Like if I would have been in some sort of domestic violence thing and went to jail for it, I feel like I would have wrote that on applications. That's part of it, is you got to wear that around and stuff. I don't know. Anyway, back to Three Kings, Marky Mark and Ice Cube and Spike Jonze. I think Catherine Keener was in that movie too. Was that Catherine Keener? Damn, I don't know. Sexist. But there's a shootout in that movie where they follow the bullets. So it's this weird disorienting sort of visual effect. So somebody shoots and you see the gun and it fires, and then it sort of follows the bullet to where it hits. And then somebody else shoots and you see the gun and then it follows. And it's really a strange, like, slowed down version of a shootout, but it has more effect. Instead of just 1,000 bullets flying through the air everywhere, it's like, no, there's a limited number of bullets, so these guys aren't going to fire like crazy. So, fire, hit, fire, hit. You see where they hit, and it's an interesting impact. It's like the opposite of of a lot of shootouts there. Don't let them grow up to be like us. Sasha, another version of Sean Archer's selfishness, while he's Castor Archer, as Sasha is dying, thinking, she's dying in his arms, bleeding to death, thinking that he is Castor Troy. And she says, take care of Adam. Don't let him grow up to be like us. And Sean Archer's generous response to her dying wish is, yeah. Just that. Yeah. That's all. Yeah. Not even like, yeah, don't worry about it, baby. I got it. I'm going to take care of that kid. He's going to be great. Things are going to... I mean, Jesus, the economy of words kicks in right there. Come on, man. Give her a little something on her way out. No, but he's staying close to the character. Selfish prick. It would have cost him nothing. There's a wonderful scene where Jamie falls down the stairs. I don't like people getting hurt, all right? But this is either her or a very dedicated stunt double, but it's just... I don't know if they're playing the awkwardness of being a teenager up or something, but damn. Just right down those stairs, man. Come on. Wanda. Margaret Cho's name in this movie is Wanda, in case you were wondering. There's maybe a theme where about the eyes, where Sean Troy says, use your eyes, Jamie. Use your eyes, because they're doing that thing where she's got to choose somebody to shoot, either the one that looks like your dad or not the one. The one that looks like Castor Troy. Use your eyes. Her eyes deceive her. Our eyes deceive us all. We're using our eyes too much. We need to start using other stuff. Okay, there's an insignificant dock, a shack on the side of a dock. It's completely insignificant. Doesn't have anything going on, and it blows up like a motherfucker. It's such a huge explosion. I love it. Just pointing it out there. Not all this stuff is great. Um, I want to call out the stuntman who does the skiless skiing on the side of the boat. That was an excellent bit of stunt work right there. That guy was fucking badass. Real primo pimp dog, you know what I'm saying? That was fucking cool, man. That was one of the coolest. That's probably the coolest stunt in this is in those boats, you know. And when the guy's just hanging off the side, just doing his thing, because there's no faking it. It's fucking just some badass hanging off the side of a boat. He's probably in a fucking wheelchair now with all kinds of horrible degenerative spine injuries and stuff. But to call it out. Oh God. Okay, let's just get through this shit here. Castor Archer receives a savage beating at the end of this. Fucking Sean Troy puts the screws to him, man, and he would be fucked. I mean, God damn, what is the point? I never understood the point of that. When it takes so much for the hero to win, like there was this movie called Wizards back in the day, and it was a cartoon. Spoiler alert! It was a cartoon about it was kind of like a Lord of the Rings thing, but they were wizards and they had like sort of modern stuff. But there was a dark wizard, obviously, and a light wizard, or I don't know if he was even a light wizard. Just it was clearly a dark one. But they were building up this whole movie to this big wizard battle. It was like, oh yeah, this is gonna be crazy. And then the two wizards come together at the end, and the good wizard just pulls out a gun and shoots the other one. And he's dead. That's the end of it. Not a big deal. No biggie. What was that movie? Idle Hands was kind of like that too. There's a demon hand or something, and they just kill it. It's over. Oh, that was it? Oh, I thought it was going to be a big deal. Nope, it was just simple. I like that kind of idea where, you know, you do some stuff, yeah, but then when it comes down to it, you just, you get it. I don't know, that's probably a part of the revenge movies, you know, those revenge movies where the whole movie is basically just building us as the audience up emotionally to cheer for whatever this other person does. I haven't seen the new Death Wish. I should just watch it, but I fucking hate Bruce Willis, man. Ugh, what a puke. Talk about fucking Illuminati weirdos there. Jesus Christ, that little smirk, like, I'm gonna smirk at you here. Fucking winking and shit. I don't like that guy. Anyways, try to build up so whatever the person who is wronged, whatever they do to the bad guys, we'll cheer for it. We want it to be like they can't really go overboard. I'd like to see a movie like that we're like, oh yeah, this guy deserves his revenge, and then he starts getting it and it gets really funky, and we're like, oh, I'm very uncomfortable with this revenge that he's getting. He becomes the bad guy. But where are we at here? So yeah, I don't know. I like it when talk about corny. Okay, so there's another book by Stephen King called Dr. Sleep, and it's a sequel to The Shining, sort of. The main character in it is the little boy from The Shining, Danny Torrance, all grown up. And spoiler alert, there's he's in this town, and there's this cast of characters, and there's these bad guys and stuff and everything, and the good guys win at the end. And I liked that book because from time to time it seemed like the bad guys were going to win, but they weren't. And you knew it the whole time. He never really, there was one person who died, but she was old, had cancer, she was dying, that's just how it works. But none of the good guys died. None of them were seriously injured. None of them were put in terrible peril. They just won because that's what happens. The good guys win, you know. And so when it goes overboard to show, oh, here's a good guy getting his fucking ass handed to him, is he gonna win? Maybe he won't. No, he's gonna win. We know he's gonna win. Why bother? Why go the extra mile? Why give him a broken rib? Why has he got to win with a broken rib or a shattered femur? You know what I mean? Why just let him win? Let's let him win. All right? Whatever. Unless you're trying for some nuance. If you're not trying for nuance, then what the fuck? Why bother? Let the guy go. I feel like one day we're going to have to atone for all of the horrid wounds and evility. That's a new word. All the horrid wounds and evility that we've bestowed upon fictional characters. It's gonna be like, man, you have to answer for this. You have to answer for what you did, because these fictional characters are real people. I identify as a real person, even though I'm a fictional character. That's good. That'll work. And then when they switch the faces back, they take Archer's dead face off of Castor Troy, because he's dead. Now they take his dead face off of Castor Troy and slap it back on Archer's head, and then what? What do they do? Do they add the body fat back that they trimmed off? Do they regrow his hair out? How did they do that? Because at the end he was just John Travolta again. They grew his hair back out. What? Can they do that? I think they could. They grew an ear, so they grow his hair follicles back out and add some fat back on. He looks just like him. Ah, God. Put that chin back together. That surgical team got in there hella fast. So it is a little bit weird, too, at the very end, the very last scene, when Sean Archer, restored, brings Adam Archer into the family, standing in the doorway, you know. There's this fog in the background. There's this whole bunch of fog in the background. And it's really weird. It's like dreamlike or something. I don't know why it's there, you know? And it makes me even wonder, just now, thinking like maybe that's the point. Maybe it is a dream. You know, they slap. Did you ever see Birdman? God, I'm giving out so many spoilers. You ever see Birdman? You ever see Birdman, baby? There's a kind of a discussion about how that movie ends, like what is going on in this movie. And my understanding was that he killed himself at a certain point, but it was way earlier than anybody else was saying that he killed himself. It was the point where he killed himself. I mean, that was in the movie, like he jumped off a building or something, and then everything else happened. So I wonder if, because I wonder if they both died and the end is just fake. The end of Face Off. It's not, it's just Sean Archer's idealized ending, because none of it makes sense after a certain point, you know? The FBI is like, oh yeah, this is obvious. Oh yeah, you explained it to us, so it makes sense. We're going to, and then they put him in the ambulance with his dead nemesis, or his dead rival or whatever. And then he shows up with his dead rival's kid at home, and his family's like, oh yeah, that's cool, let's do it. None of these things make sense. So I'm percolating a theory here that they both died. That they're both dead. They killed each other on that beach, you know? Like maybe what we're seeing is like like maybe Archer Castor Archer kills Sean Troy and then sits back, and that's when he dies. And then everything after that is a fucking... I'm going to watch it again next week. I'll keep that in mind. We'll expandulate on it, but that fog seems like a giveaway. I don't know why it's there. It's pretty stupid. And the last little bit here is that there's a priest in the funeral. This is what I assume is a priest in the funeral, because there might be a priest at the beginning of the movie too, but he's a real priest. That, like in the credits, it says his name's Father something something. Are you fucking serious? Did you get a real priest for this movie? What the fuck for? Get an actor, goddammit, you dumb idiots. What are you trying for? These weird little touches. Like, this is not a method movie. You're not... It's just a piece of shit. Just get a regular dude. An actor dude. Some idiot priest. What the fuck? And that's my 2 cents for this week. Oh, man. Next week is going to be a different type of week. And you could... I'm going to give I'm going to put out a thing. I was thinking there was a way to say it, like an idiom or something, but I'm going to put it out there that next week, and I haven't done this yet, I've skimmed for the first few items, but on the IMDb, that's the Internet Movie Database. That was pretty good. The Internet Movie Database. They have a section called Trivia. And then they also have a section called Goofs. Maybe it's both Trivia and Goofs. I don't know. But it's just facts and things, little known things about the movies, that they're talking about. And so next week, in an unprecedentedly lazy move, I'm going to go through the Trivia and Goofs on IMDb. And so the loyal fellowship, the loyal fellowship of the pod here can go on there and check out those goofs and form your own opinions before you hear my opinions, because those two things are probably wildly variant, multi-variant, but it should be a good time. I'm looking forward to it. I'm still going to watch the movie, still going to take some notes, still going to do that shit, but that's what the bulk of the next episode is going to be. So if you want to, do your homework. Go check out IMDb, Trivia and Goofs for Face Off. Let's do this thing. It's going to be funky. If you got questions or suggestions, you can get it in the social media. Don't be fun everywhere. I even started an Instagram for my dogs, and they're doing way better than me. Way better. They're more photogenic, I guess. I don't know, man. That's pretty good. Maybe I'm just marketing them better. I'm pretty sure they're just way cooler, way more interesting. I like them. I like my dogs. So, thanks again for sitting in. You hit me up on all social media platforms, questions, suggestions. First suggestion, the first person that suggests that I quit this podcast and never show my face in public again, I'll probably take that suggestion to heart. It'll be good for everybody. It'll be real nice. Don't suggest that I get microphone covers, because they are on their way. That is going to be a wonderful day. Oh, one of my computers just exploded. That was a very American thing to say. One of my computers stopped working. Derp. Look at me, derp. All right, man. Hey, good job. This was a racist podcast, and I feel regretful for some of the content. But what are you going to do? All right, man. Thank you for hanging out. Have a great life. Have a good life. Don't ever agree to have your face removed and put on somebody else's face and walk around and pretend to be that person. Don't do that. Just don't do it. Just be yourself, because you're gonna make it, man. Don't hawk your shit. You're gonna be a star. So happy birthday, and we'll see you next